goes. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Welcome to Late Night TV. I'm your host, DJ Ransom the Freedomist, and I thought we would take a look through the news. At least the news that this stoner paid attention to. That's right, and it looks like the Twilight Zone out there. If you haven't noticed, it's quite Twilight Zoney, like the movie, like the show, but in real life, and more of a horror version of it. But that's your life. You're living in it right now. How about that? Sweet. But don't worry, there's light even in the darkest places. What's going on, Tammy? And people in the chat? Let's check out some news here. As soon as I turn off that, there we go. The news. Beep. Oops, wrong one. Let's see here. I made it invisible, excuse me. There we go. Have you seen that the Pentagon, the other day, even though it was in a tabloid like The Sun, was talking about re-engineering UFO that had crashed. And, you know, I looked over the things and nowhere did I find anywhere where it said extraterrestrial. It did say, however, they were re-engineering UFO or crashed unidentified aerial ships. Anyway, but according to the BBC here, the CIA is releasing 13 million pages of declassified documents online. Right here. All kinds of stuff. Psychic programs, aerial phenomenon, just buttloads of stuff. Now I'm wondering who's the first person that's going to go through this and have any reference to an actual extraterrestrial. That's what I'm waiting on, because I haven't, dove into these 13 million pages, but I'm sure a lot of UFO fanatics will in the coming months, and you're just going to see all kinds of stories. But are they going to be of extraterrestrial man? That is the question. And as you can see right here on this diagram, this is the Fruit of the Loom character was spotted in this JFK and the Rise of Conspiracy Theories thing here. But I guess these are diagrams of UFO encounters here. And as you can see, this is the Fruit of the Loom's guy. I believe that's the purple grape guy right there. That's him. And then over here, some solar system and spaceships flying around. Now, I'm not knocking the idea that there are extraterrestrials visiting for one reason or another, but I doubt, it has much to do with us, because I feel like we would be more like an ant or a termite or, something of that sort in the relationship between the two civilizations if they could actually fly here. Now, if they're just coming from somewhere in our own solar system, now that puts a new dynamic on it, and it's very possible that, if they were only coming from inside our solar system, that there could be extraterrestrials even close to us in technological sense or progress. Doubtful, but possible, I guess. Or you can believe the theory about, all those UFOs in the Antarctic, if you want to. Anyway, we'll get back to the UFOs, because it seems to be an increasing accepted by the mainstream media that they're not quite saying aliens yet, but believe me, they will. They're going to tell you that you're going to have to stay inside forever because of the aliens. Because, sometimes we just do different stuff, even though reality's a different thing in the Twilight Zone. Look, New York activist responds to brutal attack on Asian man by rallying against white nationalism. Even though the culprit was black dude. I hope that don't get me banned, but, that's just the way it was. I don't know why they were related. It doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, on to more people that lost their mind one way or another. Was it a murder, or did this mom kill herself and her two daughters? Really sucks that people do awful things right here. Either way, it's a case of someone living in the Twilight Zone, the era we live in right now. The age of Ma'at, there, as some people put it. Did Texas mom kill her 2 daughters and herself, or is there a killer on the loose? I don't know. Either way, someone lost their mind. Speaking of more people that lost their mind, check this out. Florida children's book author, that's right, a person that writes children's books for your children to read, and her husband accused of abusing 3 adopted kids. Now, I'm not going to say nothing about the pictures, but sometimes when you look at some of the pictures, it's like you recognize that maybe there's a little bit of spirit lost or something's malfunctioning. And these people, obviously, or they just live in the Twilight Zone, you know, where it's okay to just hurt kids and whatever their relationship is there. I thought this was quite odd. And funny, my grandmother used to read this all the time. Dear Abby, I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with this columnist. She's been in the newspapers for, God, forever, I bet. But check this out. I thought this was a funny story, but bizarre also, the Twilight Zone. Punishment doesn't fit the crime after boy caught with porn. Dear Abby, when I stopped by my brother's house a couple of weeks ago, he mentioned that his 9-year-old son was grounded and in his bedroom. He was being punished for snooping in his dad's vintage collection of porn. Weird. At first, I was upset with my brother and his wife because, you know, it was their fault. They let the boy have access to the porn. And boys, oh, that's a mistake there. They didn't mean to you know, put a gender norm there. This was an accident by the publisher here. This should have said boys and girls and every other kind under the sun. They should have put all of that stuff there because, you know, they messed up. But anyway, boys are naturally curious. And she was mad that they had let him have access to it. But when I found out what his punishment was, I became enraged. Their brilliant idea was to make my nephew disgusted with porn by forcing him to look at an entire collection for 3 hours instead of playing outside. Well, I guess he was probably tired of playing inside within the first 20 minutes. But, you know, maybe this tactic works for cigarette smoking or chewing tobacco, but it seemed very wrong. So I was appalled. Did I overstep? I overstepped. I went straight to his room and told the kid he could go outside and play. What do you think? I don't know. What a bizarre story there. But I'm pretty sure that the kid was neither punished, but it is probably bizarre now that his aunt walked in on him in his inside playtime. No, this is very bizarre because we live in the Twilight Zone, so people have lost their freaking minds. Check this story out. A 14-year-old girl in Pennsylvania has been charged as an adult with for criminal homicide after she repeatedly said on a 911 call early Monday that she stabbed her older sister, who was found in her bed with a bloody pillow over her face. So, yeah, ain't that nice? But anyway, here they are taking her away. Taking her away. Bad boys, bad boys. Just kidding. Just kidding. Isn't that bizarre? Let me check out the chat room here for a second. I lost which window was which. But it is the Twilight Zone out there. Obviously, people are losing their ever-loving mind. Oh, here we are. I finally found my window here. What's up, Raven Wolf Channel? Alex, James, Blasphemous Buddha, Gilgamesh, James Ortiz, Rastafarian, what it is, what it was like, if it was supposed to be like. Yeah, but what do you guys think? Everybody's losing their ever-loving minds here. You think it's because we're going into a new cycle? Mom called 911, admitted she killed her children, and waited for the police with blood on her hands. More people losing their minds. Losing their minds. because it's the Twilight Zone. That's right. He cooked a heart with potatoes. This man, accused allegedly right here, is accused of killing these people and then chopping them up and feeding them to his own family to release the demons, and he served them with potatoes and onions. Yummy! Twilight Zone, man. Teen victim dubbed Valentine Sally identified 40 years after her remains were found on Interstate 40. Missing 17-year-old. Finally got named, much less find a suspect. Meanwhile, this is going on right here. I just want you guys to, check this shit out right here.
So the protocol was developed in the Netherlands has two phases. The first phase, at the young adolescent age, is to give what are called a pubertal blocker. You give a medicine to block the progression of puberty, so you don't go through the wrong puberty. And then to continue some counseling. And then somewhere between 14 and 16 years of age, to start slowly cross-gender hormones. And they have to go through puberty. If it doesn't happen, it's going to take years. So you start low doses, you gradually increase, so that they never go through the wrong puberty. That way, for a transgender woman, male to female, their voice doesn't drop, they don't have hair, they don't have to have electrolysis. For a transgender man, they don't have breast development that will need surgery, they don't have periods, etc. So you block puberty, and then you can, at the appropriate time, send them through the puberty consistent with their gender identity. Does that make sense? Okay.
No, it absolutely does not make sense to me. That sounds very bizarre, like if I was living in the Twilight Zone. And you know what? So does this. This looks crazy too. Biden to end Trump program targeting illegal alien sex children. I don't know why anyone would end any program that targets illegal alien sex criminals or any... I mean, how can you be any kind of sex criminal and not be illegal? I'm just saying. So there's alien ones and there's citizen ones. And we shouldn't stop any program that's targeting any of them, in my opinion. But hey, it's the Twilight Zone. Travel restrictions have no end in sight as European leaders worry about new variants. That's right, if you're not scared enough, you'll have a new kind of scared every week. Every single week there'll be a new strain of scared. A new strain of be afraid. This strain is worse than the last strain. Be more afraid. Actually, some things are things in reality that you should be afraid of in the Twilight Zone here. Like maybe if one of these volcanoes goes super boom boom, like Mount Etna, its latest eruptions, even those who study volcanoes, they say. Everybody else has been expecting these shows. This is really cool. Look, they're trying to rebrand the Johnsons as not being KKK people, family, and all that. Audio diaries reveal Lady Bird Johnson's unseen influence in her husband's administration. And that's right. When we're talking about her husband, we're talking about the guy that used to hang out, within their Ku Klux Klan people. Yeah, I'm talking about Johnson. It's crazy, man. Let's forget about that. Let's not remember that. Hey, you want to know something else weird? Twitter says it had to purge dozens of accounts for undermining faith in NATO. That's right, even though you live in the supposed land of the free, if you got caught on Twitter saying things that you don't agree with about NATO, you could get terminated. Censored. There's no reason that you should not like the world's government. You're in the Twilight Zone, and even though you supposedly live in a land with freedom of speech and all these alleged rights, nowadays that's being labeled as a terrorist. If you believe in the Constitution, your government is scared of you, and they also don't like people passing information back and forth. It's just like many times in history when they just stopped the flow of information. You weren't allowed to read or write or, write books or send stuff. So you had to hide it all as fiction, or you couldn't even do it, and passing information was really strict. Multiple times in history do you find that same thing. And you're seeing it again right now in the Twilight Zone. Twitter says it purged dozens for undermining faith in NATO. Just think about that for 1 second. Twilight Zone level shit, man. Check this article out. Leak letter, global transport body pushing standardized vaccine passport on EU. That's right. Take your vaccine or you're not going to go anywhere. You're not even going to eat. You're not going to get tickets to a show. You're not going to get to see a sporting event. You're not going to get to go to the next state over. You're not going to get to go in the hospital when granny dies or you're having a baby or none of that shit. Complete 100% authoritarian control brought to you by the medical industry and world government. And you're not supposed to say you don't like that. So we here at 420 love it. We love it. We love the standardized vaccine passport idea. And we love the world government. Wink, wink. Oh yeah, speaking of vaccines, this poor lady died right after she took one. It's probably a coincidence, though, in my opinion, here on 420 TV. We totally think that any deaths and or problems resulting or happening right after a vaccine are strictly coincidental and no fault of any vaccine because vaccines are safe and effective. Report, Georgia mother of 2 dead after receiving COVID vaccine. Allegedly, according to these people who reported it. It might not be true. It's probably not true because vaccines are safe and effective. You never get any side effects from them. Never. It's just unheard of. We all know that to be the truth. Hey, did you know staring at boobs might help you live longer? Yes, you read that right. There's some evidence that staring at boobs may increase a man's longevity. An early study found that positive thinking had a positive effect on long-term health choices, particularly when it came to taking blood pressure medication. While not all experts are convinced, many have deduced that looking at boobs is one such way to achieve a positive mental attitude. Another German study concurred that looking at boobs for 10 minutes a day was good for a man's cardiovascular health. All these benefits, of course, only exist if the boob gazing is permitted. Otherwise, staring at boobs on the sly can significantly shorten your life if you catch their drift. Also, there's other cool stuff about boobs. Don't view boobs on an empty stomach. How much money you make influences boob preferences. Being a dad changes how you think about boobs. Most guys like average boob sizes. You could read all these articles and more on Fatherly on MSNBC here, if you believe it. What men see when they look at boobs according to science. And don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, the science is settled. So don't question any study ever by any scientists ever. Secretive Israeli nuclear facility undergoes a major product, according to Associated Press. But when we can't believe the news, we can't believe the news. I mean, this probably is not true. Why would Israel, of all places, be doing weird stuff with nuclear material? It just sounds so far-fetched out there in conspiracy theory land. I'm surprised the AP even said it. Which face mask is best for communication? A new study weighs in. I'm going to have to say against the science that probably against the science, though. Remember, I'm just saying, I know science is final and science is totally, they've worked out every avenue of it. So it's settled. And, I know that it's against science, but I'm going to say no mask works better for communication, at least for deaf people, because they like to read lips and such. But hey, who am I? I'm stupid.
While masks are widely available,
these people are really, really serious about this topic right here. So I'm going to go ahead and spare you, okay? Okay. Which face mask is the best for communication? How about I don't give a fuck? How about take the fucking mask off, you pussy? Oh, I'm sorry. That I have Tourette's. I'm sorry for that, YouTube. It just came out. I didn't mean to. Please forgive me. You, but better. Scientists designing method to remove fear, boost confidence via the brain stimulation. You know, I was thinking that Elon Musk might, read this article and think, hey, is this an AI here? I mean, like, can we load this right into the Neuralink and then maybe people might not like their rights no more? I mean, excuse me, they won't be angry anymore when they feel wronged or, depressed that the food stores are empty or, whatever. If you have PTSD, maybe. Which might actually be, in my opinion, a totally natural reaction to the events that cause PTSD. And not all of these little events, pussies say, excuse me, that was Tourette's again. Not all of the events, some people say that they have PTSD for, but, like actual PTSD from combat and people trying to kill you and you having to kill other people and things like that, I would say, yeah, okay. But would you want to really change your brain? But better yet, the better question is, are you comfortable with other people, including governments, deciding how to tweak your brain? Maybe they do want to remove the fear you have of the government doing bad shit to you sometimes. It's not like they've ever done it before. I'm just saying it's totally, sci-fi. That's totally conspiracy theory. Your government would never test on you or do bad things medically to you. There's never been a single incident in the United States history ever where they tested on citizens. I'm just saying, right? It's you better. It's not your boring old self. It's you better. They could design you to a new you. And that way, you won't freak out when you have close encounters with UFOs and mystery aliens and such. But it's probably not aliens in this case either. However, this is a UFO case. It says UFO mystery deepens as American Airlines doesn't deny spotting and saying talk to the FBI, which means the FBI is looking into it. So if it was any kind of government project, maybe like those stealth bombers that were supposed to be retired, the F-117 stealth fighter. If you remember, we bombed the shit out of the Middle East with it during Gulf War and Gulf II and the subsequent invasions of several Middle Eastern countries. Maybe that's what they saw. I don't know. I'm just saying. I grew up around here seeing them at Holloman Air Force Base. No telling where they're now stationed. However, they were spotted flying over LA, and the DOD confirmed that. So that's real. Also, what's real is, as I told you, if you're a fan of this channel and probably watched one of the other channels before this, prior to this, you would know that I talked about that the government has already admitted building, mounting, and using directed energy weapons. It's not a myth. It's not a conspiracy theory. They really are doing that. And I knew they were already doing that because I live near the laser test site, a little bit further away from Holloman Air Force Base, but right out there in the same valley in the Tularosa Basin next to White Sands and the White Sands missile range. Cool, huh? But anyway, as if it's new, even though I covered this exact type article before, probably 2 years ago, but let's check it out again. Energy beam. U.S. Navy tests solar satellite that can beam power anywhere on Earth from space. That's right. They can charge up your car, light up your house. But think about this. What if they just turned it up a little and superheated all of the wires in your home, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, it started combusting, and then neighborhoods were burnt where only the fucking houses were burnt, but none of the trees? I don't know. I know that's just a conspiracy theory, and it can't be real. However, these people can, fry a pizza box size satellite into orbit there and, generate enough electricity to power your iPad, they say. Just a little pizza box size satellite. Now imagine if the satellite was the size of a school bus and had bigger parts and amped up the power. I'm just saying, I'm not an expert or a scientist. I'm just saying, think about it. You know, now after years of the AIs from PlayStation and Microsoft studying every last little person that plays games online because they think they're playing a war simulator or some kind of fun game, but actually what they're doing is allowing multiple times repeatedly an artificial intelligence to study your decision-making process, especially when it comes to combat situations, hiding, problem solving, and communication. I'm just saying. But anyway, they're done with that, and I think all the AI has all of the information it needs now for that. So you could probably see this pop up in about every state from now on, since we now live in the communist nanny state. Excuse me, that was Tourette's talking. We live in the wonderful capitalist, everything's normal, nothing's changed United States of America. Don't worry about it. Illinois' representative wants to ban all video games with violent content simulating killing a person, which pretty much includes almost all of the titles. So another tack on, you know, so-called free market where people get to pick what they want to do, sick as it may be, in your opinion, fun to others. Some people are mature enough to realize that these are just digital simulations and they're not real people. However, there are always a percentage of people out there that go to the Twilight Zone. And we're living in that, where everything will be banned. All ideas are bad. They're going to start putting, styrofoam and Nerf on top of your face and around your head so you don't hit yourself because it's bad for you. But here, take this glass of fluoride water and shut the fuck up. Did you know that they're populating a bunch of clones out in nature? Even though I've told you many times about chimeras here on this channel, 420 TV. Check it out. Scientists clone the first endangered species. It's not that far away from letting things like this out into the wild. So basically what they're rubbing in your face is any kind of cataclysm that we're about to have, that they may have planned for, that might come in a cyclical nature. Don't worry about it. The animals that get lost, they'll just clone them and pop them right back out, along with maybe some new ones, maybe some new chimeras, part human, part something else. Maybe they won't question things so much, and then they can use that little neural implant and change their fear responses and cognitive abilities. I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. They couldn't do that with all this technology that I've shown you is real. I thought we were done. Parts fall out of the sky in a plane scare, which this is pretty trippy. So some people are just kicking it on the ground.
Hear it?
Yeah.
And as you can hear the kid or whoever that was screaming, I think they thought they were under attack when a jet's flying by and there's little chunks falling down on the houses below, making big bangs with black smoke coming off of it. I could see how you might think you were under attack. Something pretty trippy, I'm sure. Look at this big old chunk of the airplane landed feet from this living room right here. So it's just right out there and parked next to the truck. Don't worry, the insurance will pay for that. And it's not just those planes that are having problems. Sometimes the human pilot, the regular human pilot, can't handle these F-16s, which are flying above my house daily, roaring, making sonic booms. I believe I saw one painted. If it wasn't a real MiG, it was a F-16 painted with Chinese colors flying around. I guess they were pretending to dogfight. I don't know what that was about. But in this article, they talk about two pilots losing consciousness and giving their AI automated system credit, the new autopilot system that doesn't need the human being or the pilot with the conscience that can't even stay awake in 5Gs. Get it? 5G? No. For real, though. So they got this cool system right here. Auto GCAS is designed to take over when pilots pass out in the cockpit or become disoriented. The software can save the pilot and an aircraft plunging towards the ground, steering the plane to safety. a software system designed to help pilots in imminent danger saved the lives of these two F-16 pilots last year in two separate incidents. The auto ground collision avoidance system intervened to take control of the fighter jet when pilots passed out due to high G forces. And then the computer took over and did a 5G turn for them. How about that? Is that not special? I mean, that's just special. Look at that. It's 5G to the rescue. Right here. It warns the pilots to take action if the pilot does nothing. Auto GCAS assumes they're unconscious and intervenes. The aircraft quickly rolls to right itself, then execute a 5G pull to take the aircraft out of danger. Isn't that nice? Because by 2025, as I've been telling you for the last 4 years, was in the project for a new American century. And the United States government told the world in the papers before 9/11 in 2001 that we were going to control low Earth orbit, indicating the path of the next several presidents and what we were going to be doing. And nothing changed through Trump, and nothing's going to change through Biden when it comes to this. By 2025, they want a completely AI military, which is another reason that they might be going through the ranks of the military, getting rid of people with ideas and, predispositions about loyalties to their own country and things like that. I'm just saying, they could do that. They just turn on the autopilot. And what's funny is in some private conversations with several other YouTubers, I was talking about, wouldn't it be nice to buy one of these robots from Boston Dynamics? And I looked into it, and I was, I realized it was way, way out of my price range. At $74,000, you could buy one of these small robots right here. And I wanted to show people what the robots are actually for. And if you know what Boston Dynamics is, you know what the big brother to this looks like, and you know what several of the other robots that are specifically designed for war. So how ironic that these pranksters show how horrifying Boston Dynamics robots, and it even says police robot dog, is by strapping a paintball gun to it. Now what I wanted to do is go hang out with somebody that actually was allowed to have certain things, and then strap it to the robot and show what it could actually do. Not a paintball version, but a real version. And then afterwards, maybe some people could strap some Kevlar around this thing and see what it takes to actually put this thing down. All for the low price of only $74,000. But speaking of which, can you imagine a whole army of these little fuckers, like I've said many times on my show, with a 203 attachment, or say the smaller version like this may have a 223 weapon, or, if it's Chinese, an AK-47, or whatever you want to strap to it, really. Check it out. They did it. And then what's so ironic is their company right here. Today we learned that a group is planning a spectacle to draw attention to a provocative use of our industrial robot Spot. To be clear, we condemn the portrayal of our technology in any way that promotes violence, harms, or intimidation. Our mission is to create and deliver surprisingly capable robots that inspire, delight, and positively impact society. But of course, they can't argue that they make bigger versions like Big Dog and some other ones that are totally designed to be in war, and actually soldiers have been using them already, and I wouldn't put it past it. Matter of fact, I know, because I've reported on it in the past. But, those shows are down the memory hole. But you can take my word for it, or search through the articles if they're still there in the interwebs about robots already in the battlefield. Chinese robots, Middle Eastern countries building and sending robots out. We are in the Twilight Zone, but the future is now. It's, we're in the dark night, as some politicians keep saying. The dark winter, the dark night. The Twilight Zone is over, and this is just reality right now. This is reality. They know there's a new cycle happening, And guess what? Most of us, they don't want in it. They know things are going to change. And when they reset, they don't want people to know jack shit, nothing. But they might want them to believe in aliens. I'm just saying. So look at it. Niagara stalls. Niagara Falls freezes over as winter storm continues to batter the U.S. This just being a few days ago. But what if you get used to, in the near future, things like this being on a permanent basis in 100-degree increment. I mean, not 100-degree, 100-year increments. Maybe 50 years, 100 years. Several generations of humans living through this. I don't think so. Because it's the Twilight Zone. No, but for real, it is. It's not just me saying it. It's like you live in it. Anyway, that's all I got for 420 TV tonight. Thanks for tuning in. The time is 4:20, or at least it's going to be for me. 1 second. I hope it is for you. And the weather is partly cloudy here in the Twilight Zone. But remember, there is light even in the darkest places. Even in the darkest places. Oh, excuse me. I didn't mean to flip you off there. I was looking for my other camera here. I misplaced it. Is this tomorrow? I hope not. It's America under communism. But it looks familiar. I think these fellers here didn't wear their mask. Maybe they didn't wear the right mask to communicate the right way. But they just, you know, you got to be careful and wear your mask out there. If you haven't been noticing, they've been attacking people in several countries, putting harm on them for not wearing a mask. But we live in the Twilight Zone. But peace out. And I'll see you next time on 420 TV News.
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
Never thought we'd go to war after all the things we saw in April Fool's Day. Tomorrow never comes until it's too late. You'll go running underground, you'll be listening for the sound. It's only Wednesday. Your shelter dimly lit. Take some wood and learn to knit, 'cause it's a long day. Tomorrow never comes until it's too late. You hear a whistling overhead. Are you alive or are you dead? It's only Thursday. You feel the shaking on the ground. A million candles burn around. Is it your birthday? Tomorrow never comes until it's too late. Oh, that shit is the show, but it ain't safe to have at home. It's only Friday. As you come out to the light, and your light is all the night, it must be Tuesday. Tomorrow never comes until it's too late. Ain't it funny how we think they made the bomb, they all make it.